All right, we'd like to welcome you to our Wednesday evening virtual prayer meetings that we've been having, and hopefully we'll be done in half an hour at 7:30. Pastor Stool is going to start a Zoom prayer group for any of you who are interested. Let me just review quickly some prayer requests that we want to remember for Morningside Church family members that we can be praying for. If you have a pen and paper, you could write these down, but Vanita Pearson has been battling cancer, and just recently, in the last 24 hours, her husband, Joe Pearson, has been hospitalized with a blood infection. He is at Greer Memorial, but Vanita did let me know just this afternoon that he is doing a whole lot better, and so continue to lift up Joe and Vanita. Nancy Crevinson is the Sims daughter. She's having a kidney transplant this week in North Carolina. Pray for Martha Doty. Many of you have probably seen here in the auditorium up on the camera tripod Bill Doty, her husband. They've been attending here at Morningside for many years. He often is running the camera, but she has been diagnosed with stage 3 liver cancer, so we want to remember Martha. Pray for BC Christmas, has had some health issues recently. Madeline Noyes has cataract surgery. Martha Brown is undergoing a hip replacement tomorrow, and then many of you have heard that Steve Cruz has a cancerous tumor in his leg, and he started radiation. We want to pray for him. Also, we want to pray for those who've been affected with their health because of COVID-19. David Rogers just recently diagnosed as positive. Probably several of you have seen on social media that our outreach pastor, Stephen Huffman's father, is a pastor up in Menominee, or up in Wisconsin at Brookside Baptist. He has not only tested positive for COVID, but he's also been placed in the ICU. And so we really want to pray for Pastor Greg Huffman. Also, Jerry Webb is recovering at home, and a number of you have been praying for David Orthner, the Orthner's son, who was hospitalized in California. He's also improving, as well as Bob and Barb Taylor have been recovering at home as well. I wanted to share a kind of unusual praise before we segue into the meat of what we want to talk about tonight, and that is an email that I received late Sunday evening. This is from a 38-year-old soccer coach from Clover High School in the Rock Hill area. He's originally from Great Britain, and he just said, "I'm a soccer coach from the Rock Hill upstate area and just happened to be in town for a tournament and Googled a church close to my hotel to attend worship this morning. I attended the 10:30 service and felt the love immediately. I asked a lovely young lady where the bathroom was, and she pointed me politely in the right direction. The sermon itself today was spectacular, from the baptism of Chris to the humbling experience of the prisoner and the guard. The power of forgiveness did not go amiss on me today. I'm also from London, England," which just goes to show how the Lord, our God, can resonate in our lives because of the references to the ladder and tipping of one's hat. Just had me tickled the way God reaches out to made me feel welcome in this way. Then to boot, at the end of the service, after singing along with some beautiful songs prompted by a wonderful ensemble, I stumbled out of the wrong exit, only to somehow run back into the same wonderful young lady, Jana, who had earlier directed me to the bathroom, where I proceeded to meet her lovely husband, Bruce. We had a good old chinwag, that must be a British colloquialism. I donated a small token of my appreciation to your church tithe fund today as thanks and praise for your efforts in your local community. My team will be in town again relatively soon, and we'll be sure to visit again. May God continue to bless you all. Graham Stafford, Clover High School teacher and coach. And so I appreciate his expressing just the impact that the service made, from friendly church members and greeters to our ensemble, music ensemble. And so this is a reminder. Every Sunday we have an opportunity to reach out to people that God has ordained to bring into our services, either in person or online. And so thank you for welcoming Graham on Sunday in this way. Tonight we want to talk a little bit about welcoming guests as we gear up for the fall and college students start coming back this Sunday. And so I appreciate Tim Snow, our deacon chairman. We had a lengthy discussion with the deacons on Sunday night talking about some of the ways that we want to prepare for the fall. And so we wanted to share that with you this evening. And I appreciate Tim has put together another excellent PowerPoint to help us in communicating that message with you. So I'm going to turn it over to Tim, and we're going to have a little chat, Q&A session, and hopefully this will be profitable to you this evening.
Well, thank you, Pastor, and we want to be a blessing to people here at Morningside, and it sounds like we're doing that at least with this gentleman that visited with us on Sunday. And I know that that's in the heart of a lot of people, that even with COVID and all of the things that are going on, that we definitely have a great spirit here at Morningside. So we did want to talk to you a little bit about what's going on this fall. And I know it's not quite fall yet. It's not by the calendar. It's not by the leaves haven't started changing, but this is going to carry into the fall. And as you know, during August, Morningside has been on a partial pause, meaning that our Sunday school and our Wednesday evening services have been live streamed. And we have not been holding in-person classes or in-person services on Wednesday. Since the beginning, Pastor, we've been doing the live stream for Sunday evening, and we'll talk about all of these different things here in the next couple of moments. But we're getting ready to take this pause off. And so one of the first questions that we want to inform people about, will Morningside be holding in-person services in August? And the answer is yes, we are. We are going to be holding services. In fact, we have been holding services, and that is the Sunday AM worship services have continued. Even though we've said that we're on a pause, we have been still meeting here in person on Sunday morning. Now, all of our other services have been live streamed or on Zoom. Like tonight, you mentioned that Pastor Tom's going to be doing a prayer meeting after this via Zoom. And I know I've been joining in with those from time to time, and there's a lot of people that join in with that, and it's a good way to have fellowship. So that's one thing that's going on. And then what can we expect when Morningside resumes in September? And just kind of as an overall, Pastor, summary of what we're going to be talking about here, what are some of the things that we can expect in September?
So we are looking forward to gearing up for more in-person service options. We talked about, I think it's September 13th, the pause lasting through that time. So as soon as that's over, of course, we want to resume Sunday school. We're going to talk a little bit about that this evening, as well as our Wednesday night prayer meeting in person. Even the next couple Wednesday nights, we're going to have some outdoor options that hopefully we'll have a number of folks who are able to social distance outside and meet together in person. We're going to talk about modifying our schedule some to fit what we see happening with an increase in attendance, with college students returning. And then we're going to also talk about some outreach opportunities that we're going to have as a church family.
So what are Morningside's plans for welcoming back the college students? I think that's on a lot of people's minds as we come to this point. We know that at least BJU has come back into session, and North Greenville, if they haven't already, they're going to be starting. And so we do draw students from both. What are we going to plan to do with the college students?
So we're expecting a number of students to return this Sunday, and typically they would come into the South Wing. We would have some kind of breakfast provided for them. They would meet during the 9:15, the early service, and then join the 10:30 worship service. We will, because we're not having Sunday school, we'll actually have something for them in the back parking lot with the food so that it's outside the building. Because the South Wing has now been taken over by the children, and that's, Lord willing, going to be their permanent home where we're going to have our children's wing. They'll be meeting in the gym, so we'll have buses. We'll pick up between the FMA and the Rhoda Haver Auditorium by the blue mailbox on campus at 9:30. Students will come and meet at the back parking lot in the gym at 9:45 for a time of fellowship, and they may even do a little bit of singing outside or in the gym. They'll have some prepackaged food that they'll be able to eat, and then they'll join us for the 10:30 worship service.
You know, it's encouraging, Pastor, to know that there's a lot of people that are taking care with COVID being present. And you just read some names that people that are still dealing with that here in our church or related to people here in our church. And so that's good to see that people are taking this seriously. And yet we want to provide that safety for people here at church as well. And so are there any changes that, whether they're COVID related or whether they're just for a different purpose, what changes can we expect when the college students return?
Well, we noticed even this Sunday an increase in the auditorium attendance as people are finishing vacations, coming back to school, getting back into a somewhat regular, normal fall schedule. And so because of that, in order for us to do our best for having the 6-foot social distancing here in the auditorium, I appreciate the wonderful job that Tim and the deacons have done, that Chris Williams and the ushers have done, but it would be difficult if we add 50, 100, 150 more people into the auditorium next week. And so what we're looking at doing is falling back into our normal schedule. And for the last 3 years, during the school year, we've had an early service. And so we're looking at, for the next 3 weeks, making those the times that we're used to, 9:15 and 10:30. The only difference will be the 9:15 service will be in the chapel, very similar to what we did at the very beginning of resuming in-person services, where we had a high-risk service in the chapel at 9:15, and then we'll have the later service at 10:30 here in the auditorium.
So what should we know about that early service?
So it will be in the chapel. We will especially be focused on social distancing, encouraging masks for those who want to wear masks. This is going to be specifically, it's open to anyone, but it will be specifically for the Sunday school classes who would typically attend that first service. And I think we have a list of those on this next slide. So Rick Franz and Dr. Doug Sprunger's class, Dr. Bollinger's class would attend the 9:15 service, Dr. Newt's, Kevin Copeland, Dave Davis would be now in the 9:15 service, as well as Kathy Perry, and then again, any individuals who would choose to go to this earlier service in the chapel.
And the important thing to remember is they can choose to go to whichever service they would like. It's just going to be, when we get into the flow of things, it's going to be something where they probably want to go to the early service so that they can maintain fellowship with their Sunday school class. Good. And so will there be children's ministries during this early service?
We will not be able to get the volunteers to offer children's ministry. As you're going to see in a few minutes, we're going to be going to a service then Sunday school format. And so in order to provide children's volunteers for 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and 11 o'clock would be really difficult. So this will be, again, for Sunday school classes that typically don't have teens or children, and so we will not be able to offer those for this 9:15 service.
And as far as the 9:15 service goes, I think later we're going to mention a few other times. We won't get into that right now, but for 9:15, that's August, before we resume Sunday school again, just so everybody's kind of aware what's coming. Remember, 9:15 is during August, and that's the important thing to remember there. Now, will there be added COVID restrictions for those attending the early service? Are we going to go a little above what we need to just to protect certain individuals?
We do really recommend using the current guidelines. And this is why we're trying to spread out our Sunday morning crowd between two large spaces, is we really do want the folks, especially in that chapel service, to feel safe, to be socially distanced, to wear masks. And so we want everyone to be mindful of that, but especially in that first service.
Right. And I think it's okay to wear a mask in the second service too, the 10:30 service.
Yeah, we encourage masks for both services.
Okay. All right. So there you have it. Well, then, does Morningside plan to have in-person Sunday school classes this fall?
So this is what we're excited about. This is why I always like to be a part of the announcements when we're opening things up. I made poor Tim be the pause announcement when I was gone on vacation. But this is what we're excited about, is Lord willing. As we continue to look at the numbers and consult with our medical team, we're looking to resume Sunday school. The schools right now are in session. Children are being exposed, and so hopefully that will have died down, some of those exposures. And by September 13th, we want to meet in person with Sunday school. Until then, it's all online. We have Zoom classes. We have a lot of Sunday school classes are meeting on Sunday night in people's homes and small groups, which is a tremendous way to have fellowship together.
That is a very important, that social connection. We think of the importance of coming to church, and that is supremely important, to be here at church if you can be so, if you can be here. But getting together in those small groups, we keep seeing evidence of this over and over again, how important that is, especially during a time like this.
I like to think of our threefold mission as a church almost like a stool, similar to the one that I'm sitting on, but with three legs. And so the first leg is loving God, and we do that when we meet corporately. That's what we come to express our love, to our worship to God in our Sunday morning service. The second leg, though, is loving others, edifying and building up others. And in a sense, we do that as we sing to each other in psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs, as we greet each other, but that's very limited, especially during COVID. But even before COVID, there's only so much deep conversation that you can have when you're passing someone just briefly in the auditorium. And so that's where we encourage every Morningsider. We want to see first-time guests become faithful in attending the Loving God service. We want to see then them move into small groups, which is our Sunday school classes, and then ultimately to become part of the outreach ministries of our church, and that's loving our world. And so you kind of see that process of loving God, loving each other, loving our world. And right now we're doing things to reach out. We're going to talk more about some of the things we'll do in October to reach out. We're having corporate worship online and in person, but many who aren't attending or part of a small group Sunday school class, who aren't getting together in homes on Sunday nights, are feeling that they're missing that. When one of those legs is kicked out from under the stool, it's almost like the whole thing topples over. And so I'd highly encourage you, if you've never been in a small group, or if you're part of a ministry that's precluded you from that, look for a small group Sunday school class. And then as a class, I would encourage all the teachers and all the members to look for times that you can get together during the week.
Well, what changes can we expect with Sunday school other than having a little bit different schedule? We have some other things that are going on, and I think this affects the overall Sunday morning schedule quite a bit.
So again, I alluded to this earlier, but we are looking at Sunday school classes following the worship service. Now, for many of you, you'd say that's what we've been doing the last 3 years. We meet for a 9:15 service, and then we have Sunday school at 10:30. And so for Franz, Newts, Davis, Bollinger, Copeland, Kathy Perry's Sunday school classes, this will seem very normal to come, meet for the worship service. We are going to bump it up to 9 o'clock. Again, we're trying to spread out the morning a little bit to give ourselves more distance, more room to create a safer environment because of COVID-19. So those classes will then meet after their 9 o'clock early service in the chapel. They'll meet in their different rooms at 10 o'clock. So that's what it will look like for Sunday school starting September 13th. So again, remember, this week is 9:15 for the month of August. Starting September 13th, that early service will bump up another 15 minutes. We want to give you a few weeks to get accustomed to getting up that early.
And then after that, we also have the later service that will be held along with Sunday schools that follow that.
So yes, the later service is going to be unique in that it's going up to 10 o'clock. And again, that's to make room for Sunday school to meet at 11 o'clock. So instead of coming to church at 10:30, our main service now will be at 10 o'clock. And after that, at 11 o'clock, we'll have all of those Sunday school classes, the later Sunday school classes. You say, well, why would we do that? Why would we flip that for the second hour? And the reason is that we believe that this is going to be a way that we can engage more and more of those first-time guests. Someone like Graham, who comes in for the first time, he loves the worship service, he loves the people that he's met, but to tell him, well, come back next week, hopefully you can find a Sunday school class, is not a great way to immediately connect with first-time guests. And so this is why many of our sister churches, I think Cornerstone Baptist started with this format of worship and then Sunday school. Heritage has done this recently. Faith and Taylor's a few years ago moved to this format. Palmetto, my wife's home church, which is very similar to ours up in Raleigh just a few weeks ago, shifted to this during COVID. So this is something we've talked about for a number of years, and because of all the changes that are happening, we thought this is a good time to try it. Again, if this doesn't work out well, we can always change back, but we think this is going to be a great way to see someone that you recognize this is a first-time guest. Maybe they're in your life stage. I've done this a number of times with single adults. Now that Rod McCarty started a Pursue class for young adults in their late 20s, I'll go up to them and I'll try to find Rod and introduce them to Rod, and then I'll say, and come back in 7 days and try to find this Sunday school classroom. And again, that's very difficult. Whereas if my wife and I see a couple our age and can say, hey, come to Sunday school with us right now, it would be a much easier way. And the churches that I've talked to, some who've been at Heritage, talking to Pastor Monroe from Faith, and other churches that have done this, they say, when we made the shift, we saw our Sunday school numbers really skyrocket. And that's what we'd love to see. We have hundreds of people, or before COVID, we had hundreds of people who came to the morning service but weren't involved in a Sunday school class. And so again, it was like they were just on one leg of that stool. And so we're looking forward to having them be part of a Sunday school class. This would also give us an opportunity. We're not going to do this right now, but eventually to connect the sermon teaching with the Sunday school lessons, so there's a unified theme. But overall, we just want to see more folks getting involved in a small group Sunday school class.
You know, I don't know, Pastor, if other people have had this experience, but if you have especially young children who are in different Sunday school classes, maybe 2 or 3 children in different Sunday school classes, and then you're in an adult class, or maybe even you and your wife attend different classes. Maybe she attends a ladies' class, you attend a men's class, and then you come back together after the services, and you don't really have any common Sunday school lesson. You have the morning worship service, but you don't really have any common unity there in the topic that was talked about. And so that's something that we'd like to move forward towards. And I know you said that we're not going to do that right now. It'll take time to build that in, but that can also create unity on top of the unity of getting a lot more people going to Sunday school class.
Right, exactly.
So when do the children meet for Sunday school? That's always an important topic.
So the children will essentially have a similar format to what they do now. They'll have their Sunday school at 10 o'clock, but then we will still have them for their junior church time, their children's church time during that adult Sunday school hour. So again, with one children's wing, one place that they stay for both hours, it makes this much more feasible that parents drop them off, they stay in a safe, secure, and exciting environment the whole time, and then parents can pick them up. Of course, if your Sunday school class gets out a little earlier, you can pick them up early. If you have a Sunday school class without any children and you want to stay for an hour and a half and you love your teacher's teaching, we have some great teachers that can go for an hour and a half and make the teaching very engaging. We will ask that at noon, everyone pick their children up for the sake of the volunteers, but other classes will be welcome to stay and pray When COVID is over, Lord willing, we'll have times of fellowship and food again. And so we're looking forward to just being able to spend time, not just in the worship service, but now with your Sunday school class. And maybe you go to lunch together, you go to someone's house together, go out to eat together. But we're wanting to create more fellowship and community within our church.
Now, food, there's a thing that Baptists love. And so, we look forward to that day that when we can share again in that way. Of course, small groups can still share in that way. And
right.
So that's another possibility there. Well, does Morningside plan to restart in-person Sunday PM services? That's something we've been without for several months, really since COVID started. You've been doing an amazing job at shepherding us through over Facebook and YouTube, but do we plan to bring back in-person services?
At this point, we are staying in contact with our medical team on a very regular basis, and we have some great medical professionals in our church, Dr. Saito, Cindy Stees, Beth Smith, and we're also watching what's coming out from DHEC and the CDC, and our concern is that we don't want to have too much exposure and too frequently. And so what we're seeking to do is not use the same space within 24 hours, and that allows the virus to die, that allows the space to be clear, but we also want to minimize members' exposure. And this is something that I know schools are trying to do right now, is mitigate exposure. And so by bringing the same people back a couple times into the same spaces, really just increases that risk. And so we feel like the opportunity that we have to have Sunday school classes meeting from house to house is a wonderful thing. We're still able to do the preaching online, and Lord willing, when we start having missionaries come back, we'll have Wednesday nights, or even sometimes we may do an interview with them on a Sunday night. But at this point, for the safety of our members and just to keep our building as coronavirus-free as possible, we're going to continue with the online Sunday evening services.
So does Morningside plan to hold a midweek or a Wednesday evening service, or the events that go with that?
So beginning September 9th, so that same week that we go back to Sunday school, we depress the pause button, we will go back to in-person Wednesday night prayer meetings, but even before then, next Wednesday night and then the following Wednesday night, we're planning, Lord willing, if the weather cooperates, to have an outdoor service and a singspiration similar to what we had before we came back for in-person Wednesday night.
And then beginning September 9th, as Pastor said, we're going to resume that midweek prayer service, and the children's programs will start up again at that point. Now, we haven't seen anything yet. We haven't talked about the teen department. Are they going to be meeting?
They are going to. Pastor Webb's been itching to have teen group meet together, and so he's going to be giving some instructions to the teen group members. And I think if you're a parent of a teen and you're not on his weekly email list, be sure to contact him at jwebb, W-E-B-B, at morningside.org, and let him know, and he'll be sharing those plans with all the teen parents.
All right. Now, as we get more into the fall, a lot of times some very special events take place here during that time. We have a homecoming, we have a pig picking, and we have other special Sundays. Do we plan on doing that during this fall season?
We are, in fact, and 3 of those 4 events are going to occur in the month of October. We're going to have Homecoming Sunday with Evangelist Brent Savinsky the first Sunday. The second Sunday, we're going to have pig picking on a Sunday afternoon rather than a Saturday. And so that's going to be a special time of fellowship and food, socially distanced. And then we have Thin Blue Line Sunday. We've done a couple of these for Officer Alan Jacobs, who grew up in our church and was killed a few years ago. In 2018 for State Trooper Keith Redman, who was also killed in the line of duty. Pastor Webb and I just met with the sheriff and the interim police chief this morning and had a time of prayer with them. And so we're looking forward to I got to hear Hobart Lewis, our sheriff's testimony this morning, just an amazing testimony of what God has done in his life. And so he's going to be coming and sharing that, honoring some different law enforcement officers. Now more than ever, we want to let them know that we love them, we love their families. They are enduring extreme levels of hate as groups, and the sheriff and police chief were explaining, groups are coming to Main Street in Greenville to protest things that are happening in different parts of the country, or there's a group that was protesting something in Greer and they came to get more publicity on Main Street. And so many of these law enforcement officers are literally being spit on and persecuted, and they're really discouraged right now. And so we want to let them know that we care and that we love them. And then we're going to have a Civil Leader Sunday to honor our elected officials and those candidates running for office. That's going to be on November 1st, so right before the big election at the beginning of November. We're going to have a Civil Leader Sunday to honor our civil leaders and look at Romans 13, our obligation to them and their obligation to us. So these are great events, and this is again why we wanted to have two services so that we can have social distancing, but also invite first-time guests to hear the gospel and to hear God's word.
And these are more than special events that we're just having just to have people in. This is part of our mission as a church, reaching out to our community. And some of these people are of note because they are in the news a lot, and as Pastor said, some of them are facing persecutions. So it's really us reaching out to encourage, but also to share the gospel with some of them. Are we done with COVID at Morningside? Is that why we're switching up the schedule? I think we've made that pretty plain throughout all of this, that no, COVID is still here with us. We don't really have control over that. In fact, we mentioned in the prayer list some people that are dealing with COVID. And so that's something that we have to continue to observe. Now, I think we're encouraged by the recent trends that we're seeing in the news,
right,
and with the counts. But at the same time, we have to continue to exercise caution. And we need to make everybody feel comfortable and safe when they come to church. And I think that's the case. I know there's some people out there that this is just not, they don't understand why we're going through all of these things that are going on, all these restrictions, why wear masks. But at the same time that there's those folks, there are other people that, for health reasons and for other reasons, they're struggling with this. And so as a body of believers, we've got to come together, and we've got to think of those that may be struggling through this or may be at high risk. And we don't want to see anybody get COVID. It's a reality out there, but we just don't want to see that. So we're going to exercise caution going through this fall. We have college students that have come from across this country. And I know personally that Bob Jones University is taking extreme care and extreme caution to protect their student body. And so they're not telling us what to do, but at the same time, we feel like we kind of owe it to the university to help keep their students safe if they come to worship with us. So yes, we're going to continue to ask and encourage people to wear masks and to social distance throughout all this. Well, Pastor, we've talked about a lot of different things, and I thought it would be good if we kind of recapped everything that we've talked about here in a scheduled type fashion, because if not, it could be really confusing. 9 o'clock, 9:15, 10 o'clock, when do I come to church? When do I bring my children, etc. So let's just go back through this just in a highlight fashion and just let everybody know. So the next 3 Wednesdays, until September 9th, what can we expect?
So these next 3 Wednesdays, and this is a great thing. I appreciate, again, Tim's putting this together with this recap. Outdoor services on the 26th of August, the 2nd of September, then September 9th is when we'll come back. So until then, no children's programs. For the teen group, contact Pastor Webb these next 3 Wednesdays. The next 3 Sundays, we're going to start having 2 services again, as we've always done the last 3 years. When the school year starts, we go to the 9:15 and the 10:30 service. No in-person Sunday school classes still because of the pause. Rooted will meet in the gym instead of the South Wing at 9:45. We'll still, of course, have a live stream for both of our services, Sunday morning and Sunday evening. Then beginning on September 9th, Wednesday, September 9th, regular midweek prayer service in the chapel. Kids on Mission and teen group will meet at 6:45. And then that Sunday, the 13th, we'll have the early service bumped up 15 minutes till 10:30 to 9 o'clock. Early service Sunday school at 10 o'clock. Later service starts at 10 o'clock. Later service Sunday school at 11 o'clock. So a lot of numbers, but if you just think in terms of the next 3 Sundays is our normal fall schedule, 9:15 early service, 10:30, and then it's September 13th that we're going to push up to 9, 10, and 11 o'clock.
And so if they didn't quite get all this tonight, and that's understandable because we threw a lot of information at people, what can they do? Can they call the church? Where can they go to find this information?
Sure. Contact the church. We will have this video. Will live on our website for probably the next few months, so you can go back and rewind. It's interesting with online school. My kids enjoy being able to speed up the lectures when they want to, and then slow it down. So if you want to slow it down or speed it up, but then we'll have that in print on our website, and then feel free to call the church office from 9 to 5, and we'll try to help you work through any questions that you have as a result of this announcement.
And there's always going to be friendly people here, just as Jana was for this gentleman that visited, and we'll help you once you get here.
Exactly. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm sorry we actually went over a little bit, and so I think the Zoom meeting's probably already begun, but you can go to your email and click on that link to be part of that Zoom prayer group. I do hope that you'll pray for some of the prayer requests that we mentioned at the beginning of this hour. Let me close us in a quick word of prayer. Father, we thank you so much for Morningside Baptist Church, for the lighthouse that it is in our community with the gospel and around the globe through our missionaries. I thank you for the place of worship that it is as we come and magnify your name. And I thank you for the place of edification as we create friendships and Christian community with other believers that goes with us into the week in our small groups as we meet in homes and get to know each other and go deeper in the Word. Father, I pray that you would bless as we welcome many first-time guests through our outreach efforts, many college guests as they come in the next few weeks. I pray that you would allow us to be safe and to apply social distancing, but not to be governed by fear, to be governed by faith as we move forward for your kingdom. Lord, I thank you for the mission of Morningside Baptist Church of loving God, loving each other, and loving our world. I pray that you'd help us to do that even this week. And as we come back this Lord's Day at 9:15 and 10:30, that you would bless the worship services, that they would be for your honor and your glory. We pray this in Christ's name. Amen. Well, have a good evening, and thank you for tuning in tonight.